It's crazy because those are the memories that are supposed to be special to you. You're supposed to enjoy, look back, and like have a lot of happy feelings. But when you look back and see those images, and you're like, all you can think about is, you don't like the way that you look. Like, it sucks because it takes away from the whole experience of your son's fifth birthday and everything else that went on that day.
I avoided cameras so much for a couple years that there's almost 4 years of my son's life that I don't have any pictures of us together from because I didn't want to be in front of a camera. And I mean, that's kind of a bummer now because we did a lot of cool stuff together, even if I didn't feel great about myself. And I don't really have anything to memorialize those things.
Welcome to Beyond the Scale, the show where everyday heroes share their stories on how they turn their lives around for the healthier. I'm Coach Brittany, and today we have a special guest from Mission Viejo Fit Body Bootcamp, Jen Priest. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have you on, hear all about your journey with Fit Body Bootcamp and the success and results that you've seen. But before we get into any of that, we always play a game called Rapid Fire. So Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you a few questions. You're going to answer as fast as you can to the best of your ability, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right, so what is your dream vacation?
Bora Bora.
That's a beautiful place. I've always wanted to go there. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
The ability to eat whatever I wanted without gaining weight.
I think a lot of people want that one. What is your favorite food?
Sushi.
What or who inspires you?
My mom, both my parents actually are big inspirations for me.
Okay. And what has been one of your biggest accomplishments?
Certainly my success with Fit Body and going back to school for a nursing degree.
Ooh, I want to make sure we get into that too because that's big. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
What is one of your biggest pet peeves?
Clicking or tapping noises.
Hear that all the time in the meetings. What is one of your favorite memories?
Riding horses in the trails growing up.
That sounds like a great time. I've been one time and I had a blast. So
That's awesome.
I love horses. What is your life motto?
Keep showing up.
Keep showing up. I like it. I like it. All right. Well, you sped through that. That concludes rapid fire. So now I want to hear more about you, your journey. I know you've been with Mission Viejo Fit Body Bootcamp for a while. How long has it been?
About 15 months.
About 15 months. And now, how much total weight have you lost since being there?
90 pounds.
90 pounds. Congrats to that. That is
Thank you.
huge. I mean, if you think about it, like, look at you. That's like a whole nother person.
Yes.
That is a ginormous accomplishment.
Thank you.
So what originally led you to putting on weight before you started boot camp?
I went through a pretty awful divorce, and my dad was hospitalized around the same time, and then my son was diagnosed with autism. So it was just kind of a trifecta of things happening all at once.
Yeah, a lot going on.
I just was not in a great space emotionally and was kind of trying to compensate by eating and ate my way up 100 pounds on the scale before I finally decided to join Fit Buddy.
Got it. And now you were healthy before all of that happened, and then so that was kind of like a...
Yeah, I'd always been athletic growing up. I rode horses. I used to run half marathons. I had worked out with trainers, so fitness had always been a pretty big part of my life. But I had kind of gotten out of the habit of it when he was, maybe 2 years old.
Okay.
So then it kind of started creeping on.
So you gain all this weight, and like you're in a whole new body that you've never experienced before. What was that like?
It was miserable. I mean, everything was so much harder. I couldn't sleep comfortably. I was getting winded going up the stairs. Going to the park with my son, I would just, I wasn't able to have fun. I wasn't comfortable. And I was incredibly self-conscious of every moment.
It's crazy, like, all the weight that you put on, how it affects so many other things. It's not just your appearance. It affects your mentality, like how you connect with others. It affects so many things that impact your life.
Yeah.
So what was the lowest moment for you?
I think one of the lowest moments was seeing some pictures from my son's 5th birthday party and not being able to recognize myself, having to do a double take.
It's crazy because those are the memories that are supposed to be special to you. You're supposed to enjoy, look back, and like have a lot of happy feelings. But when you look back and see those images, and you're like, all you can think about is, you don't like the way that you look. Like, it sucks because it takes away from the whole experience of your son's 5th birthday and everything else that went on that day.
I avoided cameras so much for a couple of years that there's almost 4 years of my son's life that I don't have any pictures of us together from because I didn't want to be in front of a camera. And I mean, that's kind of a bummer now because we did a lot of cool stuff together, even if I didn't feel great about myself. And I don't really have anything to memorialize those things.
Right, right. The good news is that you got on this path early enough. He's still young, and you can, you know, be active with him and still have those memories and those pictures and everything moving forward.
Yeah.
So how did you even find Fit Body Boot Camp?
I have a good friend who is also my neighbor, and she had joined. I think she started with the Groupon when they were doing some kind of promotional deal. And she was really enjoying it, and she lost about 75 pounds over the course of maybe 8 or 9 months. And then she started trying to drag me in with her, and I fought kicking and screaming.
Why did you resist so much?
I don't like to be told what to do.
Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, most of us don't.
Yeah.
And, like, to make change, you have to decide that within yourself anyway. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. The more you try to tell me to do something, the less likely I am to do it.
Got it. Okay.
So I kind of had to get there on my own terms.
Okay.
But once I went, and I think I had a different idea of what Fit Body was about. I thought it was going to be kind of more like an older ladies' gym where, you know, people weren't really like super serious about what they were doing or maybe didn't have like a background in fitness. And then I showed up and very soon realized how wrong I had been. About 5 minutes in when I was like, I can't breathe.
What was your first impression when you walked through the doors the very first time for your first workout?
I just remember feeling painfully self-conscious. And I didn't want to talk to anybody. I wasn't really interested in making friends at the beginning because I was just so very aware of every extra pound on my body. And I mean, I couldn't even find workout clothes that didn't, you know, accentuate areas that I didn't want to accentuate. So I just was not feeling great about myself.
Okay. So you go in there, you start working out, and then what did you feel like after the workout was over?
Just relieved that I survived.
Hallelujah.
Yes. I mean, all of the workouts are challenging. I think the first time I went, it was Hannah Viva, who we used to call her Hardcore Hannah, was the coach that day, and her workouts were just tough. So it was kind of baptism by fire, and it was, I would not say I had fun the first day, but it pushed me to see kind of how far I had fallen and how hard I was going to have to work to get back. But I like a challenge, and I started kind of picking up the regularity. I think I went 3 times a week, then 4 times a week, then stepped it up to 5 times a week, just kind of built up over about 2 months. And then, you know, the more you go, the more addictive it becomes, and the more you want to push yourself. And, you know, you start with like the 6-inch box jumps, and now I'm doing 30-inch or trying to get the 33. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm short.
It's all right. It's progress.
Yeah. So, you know, it's been something that's kind of snowballed the other way now. And now if I miss a workout or I miss a day at the gym, I miss my people, you know, I miss the workouts, but I miss the people too.
Yeah. That full support system.
Yeah.
And it's like, we talk about it all the time on, you know, the episodes and as well as in the actual boot camp locations. Like, it's so important to have a support system. And as, like, small as that may seem, like, that is literally the key to it.
Yeah,
it's
it
the
really
key to your success. Because if no one's holding you accountable, like, yeah, we all can hold ourselves accountable, but sometimes, like, we have bad days and we just need those other people to help pick us up, push us, motivate us, let us know that we're capable of more than we think we're capable of. So, how fast did you start to build friends at Fit Body?
You know, it took me a while. I had my friend Lee, who had gotten me to go, but I think it took me a long time to kind of feel comfortable there and kind of get into a routine. So I would say the first 4 or 5 months, I was just there to work out. I wasn't necessarily like there to make friends. But I think that I started seeing more success when I started kind of opening up to people a little bit. And, you know, now I have my morning crew and my afternoon crew, and there's always somebody like that I'm happy to see when I go.
Nice.
And of course, like I just love my coaches.
So you said you have your morning crew and night crew. Do you tend to like go different times during the day? Like some days you go in the morning, some days at night?
Yeah. My school schedule changes every 10 weeks. So depending on what my classes are, I try to go in the mornings as much as I can because that's when my son's in school.
Okay.
So it just makes it a little bit easier.
Right.
But if I have school that day or if if I'm volunteering at my son's school, then I'll go to the afternoon class. And it's nice now because I have enough people there that, I'm friends with, that there's always somebody that I know in a class and there's always somebody that I'm happy to see.
That's awesome. So speaking of school, I know in the beginning you said that you went back to school for nursing.
Yes.
So what started that? Is that something that you always wanted to do and just finally?
No. I think it started with my dad being in and out of the hospital so much. Okay. I got my English degree from Loyola Marymount in 2005, and I have been working as a private tutor pretty much since my son was born. Okay. Because it gave me flexibility. Mm-hmm. But, I want something with a little bit more regularity now, and I was spending so much time in and out of hospitals anyways, I figure I might as well put some of this knowledge to use. So early last year, I went back to school, and now I'm in a nursing program at West Coast University.
That's awesome. Yeah. You're going to help so many people.
Thank you. I hope so.
So you went through traumatic experiences, you put on a lot of weight, lost confidence in yourself, kept yourself away from everybody, closed up, just kind of went down that snowball effect, to now you go to boot camp, you lose all this weight, you now are getting another degree. Like, that is awesome. Would you have pictured yourself doing all this when you were at that worst time in your life? Did you think it would ever get any better?
I hoped that it would get better, but at that point I kind of couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. I certainly think that the going back to school and, getting a 3.9 and having success in all these different areas of my life, it's all interrelated. Mm-hmm. And certainly I think that I've gained so much more from boot camp than just losing the weight. It's kind of had this effect that's bled over into all of these different areas of my life.
And now has that affected any of your other relationships, whether it be family, friends, your son? Has boot camp?
Oh, absolutely. I think as a friend, I think I hold myself to a higher standard. I hold other people to a higher standard. I think that I'm more present as a parent. I'm more able to participate in things that I would have been really uncomfortable doing before. I dragged my poor son on a 10K a couple months ago. I didn't really think about how long that was for a 7-year-old. But we did it, and I'm doing the Tough Mudder on Saturday.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. I've always wanted to do a Tough Mudder. I literally just need to go and do it one day.
I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified. But I'm doing it with a bunch of people from the gym. Okay. So I figure it's a team one, so if worst comes to worst, they can just drag me through the obstacles.
There you go. At least you're going to show up and make the effort, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy, like, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and doing those things that you may fear or that are uncomfortable to you, like, it does so much more than just getting you past that fear. Like, it changes your mentality on what you're capable of what you can accomplish in life, what you can obtain, and at the end of the day, like, we all need to continuously do things like that to keep bettering ourselves. And I think that also goes to show, like, that you're a great role model for your son.
Oh, thank you.
Because, like, you're showing, like, you're pushing through, you can make change, like, you're not going to let life circumstances dictate your life. You're going to live the life that you want to live and do whatever it takes to get there. Yeah. So, although you're on this healthy lifestyle now and, you've been going to boot camp consistently, you see the results, like, is there ever times when, like, you struggle? Like,
oh, yeah.
And how do you get through that? Like, what is it like for you when you struggle? What does that look like for you? And how do you get through it?
I tend to struggle more when I get stressed out with school and my sleep starts to suffer. Then it's a lot harder to get up in the morning to get to boot camp. I'm more likely to reach for a bag of chips. But I find that even if my eating starts to suffer, as long as I still show up to boot camp, it'll kind of balance out in a week or so. That's kind of going back to my life motto of just keep showing up. Just kind of put one foot in front of the other and don't stress about the weeks where things kind of seem to fall apart, because as long as you're where you're supposed to be, it's all going to work itself out.
Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes we're human. We make bad decisions.
Yeah.
And it's like, as long as you don't let it spiral out of
Yeah.
control, and like you said, keep pushing through, show up at boot camp. You're going to stop having those cravings for the chips if you just keep showing up.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up so bad, because when you beat yourself up, that's when you just, like, lose confidence. And then you just literally go down that whole rabbit hole. So I love your motto.
I think, before I would let a cheat day turn into a cheat week or month, and then next thing you know, you're 30, 40 pounds away from where you want to be. And now if I have a bad afternoon or if I have a bad day, it's not the end of the world. We're all going to have those days. And it would be unfair of me to punish myself for that constantly. So now if I have a bad day, that's fine. I just make sure that kind of work a little bit harder for the next couple days, and it's not going to undo the progress you've made.
Exactly. Like, we all have a choice every day. We're either going to make a choice and keep going down that bad path, or we're going to keep making choices to go down that good path. And I think that kind of also is the same when it comes to people, wanting to start on a fitness journey, but they're like, oh, I'll start on Monday. And then, like, something happens, they don't start on Monday. Oh, I'll start next Monday.
Right.
Or I'll start on the 1st, or whatever it is. And then it's always a day. It's always, you're always trying to catch that day, and that day never comes.
Right.
So do you have any advice for our listeners out there that may be wanting to get started on their fitness journey, but they either feel self-conscious, or they, feel like, oh, maybe that other day I'll start? Like, why do they need to start now?
Well, I think the idea of a fitness journey and starting that process can be really overwhelming. So don't try to tackle everything all at once. Do one thing at a time. And I think the most important thing that you can do is start going to boot camp. And then once you've kind of established that as part of your routine, then you can start trying to focus on your eating a little bit. And then, as you go forward from that, you can start to tweak things as you see fit. But just work on one thing at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself, because if you do that, you set yourself up for failure.
Totally, because when you have all these things you have to do, and you're like, oh, I got to make it to boot camp, I got to eat right, I got to do this, like, you're completely flipping your lifestyle from where you're at.
Right.
And, like, you're lowering your chances of success. But like you said, if you're doing one little thing at a time, you just build on it, build on it, build on it. You have that solid foundation, and then it becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah, and you have to make sure that you're making changes that are sustainable for you. And that's going to look different for every person.
Right.
I mean, for me, I'm terrible with meal prep. I just don't really like it, and I'm not going to do it. And I count my calories, and I'm diligent about that, but I still kind of eat what I want to eat, and just make sure that I stay within a certain range.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I eat way too much sodium, but I love salt, and I'm not going to give that up. So if that means that I have to work a little bit harder at the gym and drink a little bit more water, then that's what my success is going to look like.
Yeah, because that keeps you happy inside.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned that. Everyone has a different process to get to happy. Like, not everyone's plan is the same. Not everyone's process is the same. Not everyone has the same, life. Everyone has a different life, and it's just important to make sure, like you said, mold that to what works for you.
Yeah.
You can't look at someone and be like, okay, I need to do that because they look like, someone can't look at you and be like, okay, she lost 90 pounds at Fit Body. I'm going to do exactly what she's doing. They may do the same exact thing and not lose that much for whatever reason. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So what does living beyond the scale mean to you?
Well, kind of like we were talking about before, I think that the successes that I've found at boot camp have gone into so many other areas of my life. I mean, the scale is still something that I'm conscious of, but I'm not letting my happiness be dictated by it. I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I'm doing these insane races. I'm doing fun things with my son. My clothes size is getting smaller as I go, and that's great. But more important, I'm healthy and I'm happy, and I have this awesome network of people who care about me and celebrate my successes. And I'm at the point now where I don't have to focus so much on the numbers. I mean, really, we never have to focus so much on the numbers, but it's harder when you're starting.
Yeah.
But I think that it's a mindset about where you're going to find your happiness in your life.
I love, beautifully said.
Thank you.
Again, beautifully said. So it was such a pleasure having you on today.
Thank you.
I love hearing your story. I can't wait. I hope you send me pictures of your Tough Mudder because, like, I'm going to live vicariously through you on that.
See me crying.
But before we go, do you have any last words that you want to share with our listeners out there?
I think boot camp is something that can benefit everybody, regardless of what age you're at, where your fitness level is at. Try it. Try it for 3 weeks. See what you think. It will change your life.
Thank you again for being on today, Jen. It was such a pleasure hearing your story and seeing all of the success that you've had from boot camp.
Thank you.
And for those of you out there that want to check out Mission Viejo Fit Body Boot Camp or just find a location near you, make sure you go to fitbodybootcamp.com to claim your 3 free workouts. Until next time.